Right, now we're going to talk about consumer connection. And it's a lot less these days, but when I started talking about this many years ago, people started saying to me, oh, you know, I'm a farmer, I've got nothing to do with consumer. I need to understand that. And I think it's really important to understand why it's important for you to connect with them. And the main thing is, if you imagine a value chain, so Fonterra just popped it up there, a supply chain. The old school thinking is, you know, we've got a producer, and then it goes to a processor, and then it goes to a distributor, and the last person consumes it. Or it probably goes through a supermarket or food services and someone eats it, or consumes it, or wears it in some cases. If you imagine a web where the consumer is at the middle, and it doesn't matter what part of the value chain you're on, all of us have to think about how we produce with them in the centre of everything. Value begins behind the farm gate. So everything you do every day is actually adding value to a product. So it's my absolute pleasure now to introduce Tim, Jeremy and Mike to come up and run the Consumer Connection session.
Thanks, Julia. We've two great papers coming, and I know this may be deemed to be the last session of the day, but I think it's the ultimate session of the day. So outside the farm gate, we as farmers tend to think inside the farm gate, and milk in the truck, not our responsibility anymore. But to paraphrase Leonard Cohen, I've overcome geographical, physical and economic inconvenience to be here, so I've asked the organisers for a few moments to actually set the scene as to what we need to do as farmers. There's more to unite that unites us as industries than divides us. I think the sessions today show that very, very clearly. But if Paul Bird thought that one fleeting reference to the rugby was enough, no. I was in Lansdowne Road 2 weeks ago. I waited to come to New Zealand until I got that match out of the way because I had a sneaking suspicion we were going to do what we did. I'm under no illusions that that means we're going to win the World Cup. Not that silly. You guys are still obvious favourites, but you'll be better because of it. You'll be better because you're beaten. And the same way as I think we are a better rugby nation because of what you've sent to us, I think now we're better dairy nations together because of what we do together. So I think the idea is, how do we continue to grow this journey together? And grass milk is the link. There is no doubt it's all about grass milk. But how do we make that a standard, and who polices that standard? That's something that I think we should tease out at the end of this session. Because we've really two great sessions. Jeremy gives us the science and the benefit of the pasture milk from the science. And Tim has done, I think it's a really fantastic paper on that whole big bad world out there and what we're competing with and how we need to raise our game. And as I said, the connection between rugby and dairy farming is extraordinary. And 2 days ago I was with John Linsky and we stopped at the statue of Colin Mead. And the story goes that when Colin Mead was going up for a line-out in an early match against Ireland in the early 60s, Willie John McBride turned and flattened him. And Colin Mead got up and he shook himself. He said, "What did you do that for?" Willie John said, "I got my retaliation in first." So I think we have to retaliate against what's happening to our industry. We have to get in. We have to get with the game and do what's needed. We've sent you really good researchers over the last couple of years, and you saw the results of the concentration that we in Ireland have on grass research and production research. And you sent us some really good extension officers, and they were named earlier today. And then we sent you John Roach, and at least you had the decency to keep him. And you heard today that Michael Murphy has made 50 trips to New Zealand. What is it with you guys? Why can't you take a message? Why can't you just keep them? You keep sending them back. But anyway, what we're going to have to do to raise our game in the outside is sometimes uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to do things that we don't really want to do. M. Bovis is a great example. And we shared some of the science with you people on that M. Bovis decision that your ministry decided to do. I believe firmly it was the right thing to do. But equally, there are other disease challenges out there that may make life uncomfortable for you, but in the long term are the right thing to do. In Ireland, since I've come here, the decision came through that we're actually going to go ahead with a national Yones program. So that's something that I think you're going to have to look at, because it's uncomfortable to deal with these issues, but they're very important things to do. So, where are we with regard to promoting our product, and what are we prepared to do? How big are you prepared to think? And I think that's the way we have to look at this. But equally, you have to be aware of the law of unforeseen consequences. Will Pasture base follow through as a brand or as a standard that takes your product right through to the market and monetizes your product to an extra premium in the market? We have to be careful that we utilise that standard well. We've got an extraordinary butter product called, under the brand Kerrygold. It's the #1 selling butter in Germany and the #2 selling imported butter into the States. But now we, as another section of the Irish industry, is challenging with truly grass-fed in the States. Maybe that's the right thing to do because commerce is competitive. But equally, is it the right thing to do that a country competes with itself? I think we really have to ask ourselves some hard questions around that. We've got a super product. Again, I give you the challenge. How big are you prepared to think of promoting it? I used the example in Hamilton the other day about our 2 rugby teams. You've got still the #1 team in the world, but you've got an American insurance company across their chest. Just think of it, an AIG, American Insurance Group, promoting the All Blacks or sponsoring the All Blacks. We've got a UK mobile phone or a cell phone company in Ireland across the Irish jersey. But just think if we had Pasture milk across it. Just think of that. Are you prepared to put that sort of money into your business, into Fonterra, into whoever, that will actually make that investment in the future? That's the scale of the challenge. I also use the example of the image of the Scott brother, or the Scotty Bowden and Jody Barrett, with a glass of milk out in John Minsky's field of All Blacks in Taranaki, with Mount Taranaki behind. You might want a different background down here, but same principle. Imagine the kids seeing that image, because it's all about getting the kids hooked and right through to the older people. I've been accused of being naive and being a bit of a dreamer. I'm guilty. I don't mind saying that, because I think we do have to dream and think big. But I'll just leave you with one thing that struck me out of everything we heard today. The best thing we heard today was Will saying he was prepared to take a leadership role in the industry. That's what we need. We need you young guys taking on those sort of leadership roles, rising to the challenge that Jeremy and Tim are going to say that are out there. But equally, are they challenges or are they opportunities? As you plateau in milk production in this country, and as we rise with our high cost in Ireland, we're going to have to monetize our product beyond where it's currently at. And it's a big challenge, but equally a wonderful opportunity. So, asking Jeremy to present first. Thank you very much.